to Electric Boogaloo. Let's talk about it. Welcome, everyone. It is I, the Dumble, whose door is always open. Gandalf without the gray or the white, because I'm all black. Jordan LaForge, captaining this enterprise. I am Left Eye E.G.O. I am joined by the man who's about that action, who's doing all his stunts for our entertainment, the Stuntman. And I'm also with the man that keeps it cooler than a polar bear's toenail in a blizzard, Justin Ice. How are you doing, guys?
I'm keeping it chill.
Guys,
What's up, Stuntman? What's up, E.G.O?
My name is Stuntman, and I like to party.
Diego says Diego Orlando regrets to inform that he can't participate. He's lost somewhere between Istanbul and one of the stands: Kazakhstan, Takistan, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Uzbekistan.
I understand. I received word from his carrier pigeon Herbert that he would not be able to make it. So I appreciate you stepping in, Justin Nice.
No problem. Just always know that Diego Orlando is one of the most handsome legends to ever handsome or legend.
But
E.G.O likes to keep all his friends separate so that he can be in the center. He is selfish and greedy. Greedy E.G.O. Go on. Sorry.
Friend segregation. Sorry. It's okay.
I'm done.
It took all of us a minute to see Dune 2, guys, and we're giving you our review. We had to bring on Justin Ice because, frankly, Stuntman and I didn't know what the hell we were watching at certain points, so we had to bring in a resident expert on this. So we'll be reviewing this movie with our 1 to 5 egos for casting, plot, and pacing. I would do sci-fi factor, but again, we didn't know we were watching at certain points, so I couldn't even put that in because I can't even grade it accurately. So first things first, we're going to give you guys the general plot to Dune 2. Paul Atreides unites with Chani and the Fremen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. I will be telling you guys, first off, that there will be spoilers, a lot of them. A lot of them probably by accident because, again, me and Stuntman didn't know what the hell we were watching at certain points.
A lot of them on purpose. I'm here to spoil things. I said a lot on purpose. I'm here to spoil everything.
That is great. We're gonna actually jump into a few questions that me and Stuntman had because we were confused as hell. Stuntman, I know that first of all, Regal Theater in Houston, you're messing up with your closed captioning devices. Okay, I put the glasses on, no captions were read, which would have helped because I didn't know Paul's mom was having a conversation with the fetus. Okay, I thought she was talking to herself. I thought this bitch went crazy by getting the water of life. Okay, so just nice. We thought that she was talking to herself. Then Stuntman had to tell me he's talking to a fetus. What was actually supposed to be happening here? Because that's the first question I had.
Y'all can hear me, okay, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The book never had her talking to a damn fetus. The child was premature because of the water of life. Paul's sister was born prematurely and was a freak because she was not only a child, she was a child with all the memories of her bloodline, which would have been pretty much every Bene Gesserit in history. So she's like a 5, and I think she grows exceptionally. She ages a little faster, but she's freaking everybody out because this little girl with like memories, like she's been alive for like ever, like centuries, thousands of years of memories in this tiny little baby. So you have a baby prematurely. So it's a premature baby, right? It grows unnaturally, pops out, and instead of popping out in a few months, pops out in a few weeks, right? And you pick it up, and it's you waiting for Goo Goo Gaga, and it's like, don't forget to sign up for your AARP. God damn it! Wait a minute, that's the wrong memory. That's Edith's last memory. Hold on. Always remember when you're constipated to eat plenty of prunes. Oh, wait a minute, I should go younger. I'm only 5 minutes old, and I'm still thinking like a 95-year-old. Like 1,095-year-olds. Yeah, I remember this one time 10,000 years ago during the Butlerian Jihad. There were these robot things, and they were terrifying. I tell you, they were terrifying.
That's hilarious.
Oh, I'm hungry. Mommy, where's your breast? Put your nipple in my mouth, Mom. I haven't had breast milk in forever. Or is it recent? I'm not really sure. My mind is full of thoughts. I'm preborn. Suckle. You know what would go great with this? You know what would go great with this nipple? A steak. It'll be delicious. And some oatmeal. I'm very confused. I've got all these memories. How does oatmeal, steak, and breast milk go together? I'm not really sure. Oh, and Paul, he's the Quasi Soundman or some shit. I don't know. Instead, he's like, it's going to be a fetus. Portrayed by a young woman, which doesn't make any sense. Those are arbitrary decisions by your director.
Makes sense. Thank you, because
Would
that
you like
actually
some
would have
breast
been
milk?
more entertaining. I will say that would actually be more entertaining than what we got, because I'm just like, I was like, Stuntman, what's happening? He's like, I think he's talking to the fetus. And I'm like, what is happening right now? I mean, I guess some of the other questions we had were like, I was trying to figure out where the lasers came from. Like, I remember that they had swords in the first one, and then like by part 2, now they've got lasers and RPGs. Like Stuntman, I mean, Stuntman and I watched Dune 1 in preparation for watching Dune 2, and we're like, all we saw were knives, and like that was kind of it. And now in part 2, like they're pulling up RPGs, like laser guns and stuff, and doing sand ninja attacks, guys. But I was like, what the hell is happening?
Don't be racist.
The minute it happened, I was like, sand ninjas.
What's up, my nigga?
I was like, all of them. Yeah, well, that's what we were trying to figure out. We're like, yo, when did they ever have these laser guns? Like, did they withhold them in Dune 1 and then put them in part 2? Or like, had they always had them and forgot about it and they decided to put them in the movie?
They did put him in Dune 1 in the scene where they're chasing after Paul and Jessica underground at the death of Duncan Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
They brought out.
Well, I'm not talking about the other people. I'm talking about the Fremen. Like, I didn't know the Fremens had them. That's why I was confused.
So let me tell you a little backstory on Dune. The story,
Please
right?
do.
Because what we're seeing in these movies is a strange mixture of modern interpretation and what was written in the books, right?
All right.
So modern interpretation of a science fiction battle or war is based primarily on modern warfare, which I guess, maybe Stuntman can give us a little more enlightenment on. But, so we got to have the gunfire, the explosions. They're probably basing it on whatever recent knowledge they have of it. The books, on the other hand, the reason why they use swords, and they're described as fencing weapons. So the short blade's called a stiletto. They're using rapiers. They're not doing the Filipino martial arts stuff that they have in the movie. They're doing pretty much fencing, right?
Okay.
The backstory behind Dune is when they invented the person who invented the shield, the personal shield, right? So ships had shields, and then he developed personal shields. When he developed the personal shields made the benefit of firearms null and void. They were no longer of value, right?
Okay.
But just wasn't going to penetrate the shield, right? What they also discovered is that laser weapons, if you fired a laser gun, they call them laser guns. If you fired a laser at the shield, it would cause a thermonuclear explosion. destroying both the shield user and the laser user and everyone in the surrounding area. So laser guns were made illegal, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
everyone kind of agreed because it was stupid. You turn on a shield, you hit somebody with a laser, everybody's dead, right?
Okay.
The reason why the slow blade penetrates the shield is because it's a shield. So a full shield can work in a spaceship because there's no atmosphere, right?
Okay.
But a personal shield, you need to breathe, right?
Right.
So this thing is keeping everything out, right?
Oh,
So the
okay.
frequency has to be modified so that airflow can pass in and out, right?
Okay.
So anything fast gets resisted, but you can still breathe.
Okay.
So the goal around was moving slowly with the blade, and then you can pass through the shield like airflow, right?
Oh, okay.
Which, if he really wanted to explain that, he could show guys falling and they start to suffocate.
Yeah.
Because now the airflow becomes rapid. And a rapid airflow,
that'd be cool.
they could have done, like, if he really wanted to explain this better, and I don't think he really took the time to read Dune. But if he were to really explain it, it would be like, yeah, if you threw somebody out of an airplane and he activates his shield, he'll suffocate before he hits the ground. Because the air would at that point become moving rapidly and the shield would repel the air, thus suffocating him.
Okay.
So that would have been a cool thing if they had them fighting like at a high elevation or something, and the guy turns on his shield and they kick him out. And then he turns blue and you watch him suffocate inside of it.
That would be cool.
And then that kind of says, why is the shield what it is? But that means nobody's using projectile weapons because the shields are that good. Right.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
The only place you don't use shields is in the open desert because they drive the worms crazy.
Okay. Oh, because the vibrations. Yeah. Okay.
In the books, the open desert was extremely dangerous because of Shai-Hulud, because of the birds, because of the worms. Not mildly dangerous, very dangerous. I mean, if a human's footsteps can bring a worm, our little tiny footsteps can bring some giant super worm. I don't see how you're doing anything comfortably. You know, you turn on a shield in open desert, you'll have a worm on you in seconds. Worm sign almost immediately, kind of thing. So the point of the blades was because it's the only kind of functional warfare that exists within the technology. That's it.
I got you. Okay. Sorry, the cat's making the pants. So what's the name of the cat again, sir, that you've named?
Ahsoka. Say hi, Ahsoka.
Hello, Ahsoka. Hello.
Hello, Ahsoka.
And I guess the other question I had for Stuntman was like all this bickering and bitching in the desert, essentially between like what's supposed to be kind of a military cell of sorts. It's like, you've had some military experience. It's like, how much shit can you talk to your commanding officer and it not be an immediate ass kicking or like being sent back to some kind of like barracks at this point?
None. You can't talk. I mean, you can talk shit.
There's like a lot of shit talking I got, but like there's like a point where like there's direct insubordination with Chani and is it Stilgar? Like I'm trying to figure out if that's the guy. I'm just like, you've had military training. It's like if Stilgar is supposed to be the leader of this with Paul Atreides, and you're actually actively going against. It's like, at what point do you guys like, go back to the northern part of Arrakis and stay there?
I actually have a question like that because she seemed like a real leader, and I know when you had explained the movie to me, like you said, this movie was first made, and then George Lucas looked like bits and pieces of this story and used Star Wars. Yeah. And so like I saw Chauncey, or I forgot, I don't know her. Shawnee. I see her as like a Padme. Like she's not a princess. She's a warrior. Like she's a leader. Like to me, I've never seen this movie, but she essentially to me is going to be like a strong warrior. And I think other soldiers see it and respect it. So they kind of allow it. Most people would not like have that kind of freedom to do or say, but she looks like she's she's going to be like a badass, because Padme wasn't just a princess. She was a warrior too. And she always wanted to be in, you know, in the fight. So I feel like that's why they allowed that kind of insubordination.
Gotcha. Okay. I will give you it. That makes sense. Okay. I get that. That was just the questions I had to clear up. Stuntman, what other questions did you have? Go ahead, Justin. Nice. You got the.
Yeah. Explain, please.
We're saying it because we don't know. That's what we're saying. We're saying we.
Oh, I think it's just modern. I think it's just modern storytelling.
Okay.
Which is with modern storytelling without logical progression, right? You establish that these are survivalist people, right?
Yes. Yep.
Everyone's a fighter. Everybody's got a weapon, right?
Yes.
If you don't like the leadership, you have to fight to the death.
That's true.
Right?
Fair enough.
That is true. Yeah.
Like, and you remember the introduction of Stilgar in part 1. He's about to meet with the Duke, who's got a straight up army. He's been hanging out with Duncan Idaho. Duncan Idaho is scared to piss off Stilgar, right? And Duncan Idaho's the man. Jason Momoa, fantastic choice. I need more Jason Momoa in films.
Fair.
Especially action, sci-fi, all the movies I like to see, I need Jason Momoa there.
Fair.
And then when we get into the siege, Stilgar's like some kind of sad dad thing, and Chawnee's like, I'm so mad right now. I got teenage fire. I'm a teenager, and I'm like a teenager. And Stilgar's not as intimidating in the siege.
Okay.
But in the siege, when Jamis was like, yo, I don't agree with this, he's like, then you're going to have to fight about it. Immediately, you're going to have to fight about it. Jamis is like, Stilgar, I don't think you the man anymore. So, and he's like, you want to roll? You really want to roll on me right now? And he's like, well, I don't want them here. And it's like, then we're going to have to fight about it. Everything was, we going to have to fight about it. And then in part 2, it's like being at High School Musical. Okay. We don't believe in the old people. You youngsters, I'm so old and confused. Ain't nobody fight about it. Y'all walk around with saber blades cutting each other. Get out of here. Stab it. Orange the new black.
Nice. That makes sense. Thank you, because we had those are most of the questions that we had when we were watching it, because like a lot of stuff wasn't lining up with what they told us in the first one, so that's what we're trying to figure out. But as far
not to harp on a point too much, but it's still not modern storytelling. When they write about teenagers, they write about teenagers from the 20th century, right? They're not, and I think Frank Herbert was more well read because he's more of a classical author. He was a pre-1980s author, pre-Stephen King. So when he's telling the story about 16-year-olds, because Paul is 16, Johnny's 16, and stuff like that, he's telling the story from the position that Alexander the Great was 16 when he started. True. Joan of Arc joined the military at 16. Back in the day, when it was time to get your career underway, you were 16, not 25, not 30. Childish things were left for people under the age of 13. Remember, bar mitzvahs are 13, bat mitzvahs are 13, rites of passage are 13. So when he's like, Paul, you have to man up, and he's 16, it's like, well, he is 16 and immature. No, our 16-year-olds are immature. Their 16-year-olds were participating in war campaigns. Alexander had his empire by the time he was 21. Think about that. He was an imperial leader by 21. Genghis Khan took over his family by the time he was 10. Like, he was the head of his own family. Like, different times. Sorry.
No, it's fine. That's great. Go for something. That's what we needed.
That's an excellent point. I didn't even think of it.
Yeah, and that's why we were just confused when we were watching, because it's like, you guys told me that Paul was supposed to grow up. Chani, if she's the warrior badass she's supposed to be, you'd have a particular mindset going into these things. You really don't have time to talk shit when you got to worry about Worm Sign and the Harkonnens invading. and then Fade Rotha at some point. But yeah, that helps clear it up. But as far as the casting, guys, we had Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides, Zendaya was Chani, Rebecca Ferguson played Jessica, Javier Bardem was Stilgar, Josh Brolin as Gurney, Austin Butler is Fade Rotha, Dave Bautista as Beast Raban, and I believe we had Christopher Walken as the Emperor, and Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Harkonnen. From 1 to 5 egos, what do you guys give the casting of this movie? Stuntman, do you want to go first, sir?
Man, I love the casting. It was amazing. I loved everybody's character, and like you said earlier, Just Ice dude Momoa was a super badass. I loved it. Man, what a great movie! And I really liked, Paul. Paul, I mean, what a great character. He's doing a really good job on what they're trying to do for him. And you're just almost like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to cheer for him or root against him, but I love the casting. It's great. I give it 5 for me.
Okay. All right. Just a nice good sir. What are you giving it?
I'm going to say that performance-wise and casting-wise, I'm going to have to say the casting overall was excellent. But any limitations on their performances, I blame the screenwriters and the directors.
Okay.
I think the character Princess Erlon was poorly utilized.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the actress's problem. Christopher Walken is a great actor, but as the Emperor, he was no good.
Weird. Yeah.
I don't even know why they had him there, because they weren't using him for anything. They put all that on Princess Erlon's character, which was stupid. And I don't like Zendaya. I think her acting is garbage. I think she's Disney Channel trained, and she's been doing the same as a man who's had children who watch Disney Channel and watch the things that Zendaya was in. She's still doing the same stuff, acting wise.
Okay.
And now she's got this stupid movie coming out where she's having like threesomes with tennis players or some stuff.
It's weird.
After doing a drug movie, but she's doing the same elementary school Disney Channel acting. So Zendaya sucks to me. So if you got rid of Zendaya, Christopher Walken, and I'm not going to be mad at the Princess Erlon actress because she got a shitty role. It's a 5 out of 5 egos, but because they had them in there, it's going to drop it down to 4 for me.
I will also have to give it 4 egos because of Christopher Walken and Zendaya. Christopher Walken, because I didn't know what he was doing there. You really haven't shown me how, like, he's the Emperor. Like, I don't like. There's something there. Like, if you show me the Emperor, like Baron, we know we'll take you out. The Emperor, I couldn't believe he put even this plan together to begin with, because he's finding things out late. He's acting scared. He's relaying everything to Princess Erlon, not to his troops. Like, I don't even know what you're doing here. And again, it's Christopher Walken, so I'm thinking what they're going to say. We have to get Paul. We have to get rid of him. I'm waiting for him to do that.
They're fantastic.
Thank you.
I like it.
I was waiting for him to say it, but it's like it didn't happen, so I was confused. So it's a 4 for that. Like the names alone in this movie were great. Not again, that's more of the book, but like a name like, yeah, well, who's that? That's Fade Rotha. You're like, shit, I don't want to cross that guy at all. What, Fade Rotha? Like Austin Butler did a great job playing a psychotic Baron. I forget what they call it, Na Baron or something like that. Like he's not the Baron, but he's like the nephew of the Baron. But he played a great job playing just a psychotic warrior that was like, hey, this is like the psychotic version of Paul that we could see. But yeah, just having Zendaya, it's just like, I know you tell me she's 25 and she looks 12. Like you could put anyone that looked remotely over 25 and I would have understood it. Like the weird thing is like you made the fetus Anya Taylor-Joy, and I'm like, if you gave me Anya Taylor-Joy as Chani, she would have been more believable, because I've seen her in grown-up roles like The Witch and The Northman and The Menu. She can actually be an adult in the movies while still looking young. With Zendaya, it's almost the opposite. No matter how old you tell me she is, she still looks 13, which is great in terms of the roles you're cast, unless you cast as the same thing every time. So for that, I gotta give it a 4. as far as the plot, gentlemen, from 1 to 5 egos, where are we going with
and
that?
I think they chose Zendaya because they wanted the people of Arrakis to be people of color. That was it. I mean, I don't think it matters per se but they're doing the whole like, it's Iraq, it's like Africa, it's like people with color because it's a different planet. But check it out, the planet is a desert because of the worms, not because of the sun.
Right.
That's in the books. The planet's a desert because of the worms, not because of the sun. So the idea that they would be more melanated is actually also when we're not really terribly certain about melanation in life, because sub-Saharan Africa, below the desert, that's the size of the United States, people are black, right?
Right.
But they're also living in rainforests.
True.
You go to South America, those people are living in rainforests. It's hot, not necessarily bright.
Right.
Does that make sense? Now, I'm not saying I know everything about anthropology or genetics or whatever. Not saying that at all. All I'm saying is this express effort to decide that the people who populated Arrakis, without discussing the history of Arrakis, would automatically be the black people and the colored people. It's kind of like, so all the white people got Caladan, but Seleucus Secundus is supposed to be a horrible place to live, and all of the Sardaukar were white.
Okay.
The emperor is supposed to be Seleucus Secundus. He's their leader. They're all white, but Seleucus Secundus is supposed to be basically hell, and like a hellhole, like terrible place.
Okay.
It used to be a prison planet because the environment was so bad. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I'm sorry, just wanted to throw that in there because I don't like Zendaya.
It helps. It helps.
Go to hell, Zendaya.
All right. So what do we? So what do we got for 1 to 5 egos for the plot? Stuntman, go ahead and go first, man.
I'm gonna go a 3, and it's mostly because I was confused majority of the time, especially with like the visions Paul was having, the conversations his mom was having with the fetus. I was like kind of like all over the place. I mean, I was like really confused for majority of the first movie, and then when I got to the second. But I'll tell you what, I would watch both movies back to back again because I thought they were. I mean, everything was really cool. Costumes, special effects was awesome, and just the story wasn't all together for me. But yeah, I'd give it a 3. But I would definitely watch it again to see if I could get more information and see if I could find, if I could put more pieces together watching them. But I'm gonna go 3, man.
Fair. Justin, nice. What you got, good sir?
On plot, disconnected from. Well, I can't disconnect from the books.
That's fine. Go ahead.
I can disconnect from the books. I can disconnect from the books. But there would be a lot downplayed. The biggest issue is they downplayed the importance of spice. They made spice. Okay. They related spice to crude oil and gasoline because it was Arrakis, right?
Right.
And the modern person, 20th century, the person of the 21st century is like Tesla cars. We don't need crude oil, right? It's not that important. No blood for oil, blah, 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 right? But the books, the reason why Arrakis is so important is because when the navigators need the spice for interstellar travel, that means none of the planets are physically close to each other. Not at all. So the vastness of space is real. In the book, they call it the universe, not galaxy, universe. And they use the term universe. And in part 1, he says known universe, which is still acceptable because the spice allows the navigators to fold space, right? This is physics concept. If he's folding space, you can pretty much go anywhere. And the success rate of traveling through space without spice is you would lose 4 out of 5 ships. And mind you, each ship isn't like 2 or 3 people. We're talking full Starship Enterprise cruise. We're talking hundreds, maybe thousands of people per ship. So you have a 20% success rate to 100% success rate, and the navigators, by eating the spice, no longer look human. Not slightly. They're like flying worm things. They're like weird looking, right? So spice isn't just like, there's an alternative way of travel. It's the only way of travel. The Bene Gesserit use it to see through time.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just a drug that's addictive like heroin. It extends life. It gives perception. It allows the mentats to do what they do, which they downplay the mentats. Mentats are smarter than computers. They're smarter than any computer you'll ever see, right? The spice allows them to do that. Also, if you become addicted to spice, you can never come off it. So the Anakim people actually can't leave Arrakis because spice is life. So if you stop the spice flow, anybody, because they're breathing spice. Spice is everywhere in Arrakis. It's not sprinkled amongst the sand. It is literally in everything. That's why everyone in Arrakis eventually develops the blue eyes.
So when he told them to like go take to the paradise and they jumped in those ships, they were going to die if they left that planet.
If they stayed away from spice long enough, they would eventually have died.
Yeah. Wow.
See, okay, we didn't get that at all.
Because the addiction to spice is that powerful. But the spice will extend your life, not by like a couple of years, not that herbal tea like, I'm gonna add a few years to my life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a couple of more years to my life. No, not like that. We're talking hundreds of years. Spice will add hundreds of years to your life. Does that make sense? Okay. So we're talking cats like 300-400 years old because they live amongst spice, because they consume spice, versus someone who lives to be 80. This substance is the substance, and it only comes from one place. So
based on that, so what you go ahead.
They downplayed the crap out of spice, and because of that, it killed the story. So I'm with Stuntman. Okay. I'd give it a 3. I might even drop to like a 2.5, maybe 2.
2.5.
I don't know. I get upset as I talk about it. I get emotional. Sorry, Stuntman. I get emotional.
It's okay. It's all right. Me too.
I feel it. Give me a sec. I need emotion.
All right, so it's weird for me. It's like there's the plot you told me and the plot that I watched unfold. The plot that you told me is a 4. Like, hey, I'm gonna greet the people that took out my father. I'm going after the Harkonnens while teaming up with the Fremen. Okay, cool. But while I'm watching, it's like watching a TV show where like you have multiple plots happening at one time. Like Jessica trying to like vie for the Reverend Mother of the Bene Gesserits, then having all these damn tattoos on her face, which we didn't even figure that part out. Then there's Fade Ratha going against his brother to be like the Baron. There's the Baron who's mad that his oil / spice is being reduced. There's the Emperor who's talking to the Princess Erlon. There's Erlon talking to the damn Bene Gesserit, which made us think that she was a Bene Gesserit, but we found out she's not a Bene Gesserit. And then Paul goes full on Messiah crazy instead of either just saying, I'm a Duke, I'm gonna do what a Duke does. Like there were so multiple mini plots that were happening. I forgot what the original plot was. Like I almost have to give it a 2 based on that because it wasn't really focused to me. Like they introduced way too many people at one time, and then everyone had their own subplot going. Like this would have, if this version of Dune were a show, it would have been a lot better to me. Like if you told me that it will be like, hey, we're going to put out 6 1-hour episodes, but only in theaters, I would go see them because it would give me a full picture. Like certain things need to be limited series to me. And this would have been one of them because this is so much you're taking out from what you're telling me, Justin Nice, in the book and from what me and Stuntman were saying. So to clear confusion, you almost have to do this as limited series to make it make sense.
You can watch the limited series of Dune made by Sci-Fi Channel in 2001 on YouTube. Visually, it's low budget. Like the acting, the best actor they got is William Hurt, General Ross.
Oh, okay.
Everyone else, the acting's not great. The visuals aren't wonderful. But Sci-Fi Channel did the miniseries that covers They did regular Dune, then they did Dune, The Children of Dune, which is a mixture of Dune Messiah and The Children of Dune, and kind of tells you where the story goes after the first book.
And that's where. Good.
But you can find that on Sci-Fi Channel. I can send you the link so you guys can watch it on YouTube. Oh, we are on YouTube. You can watch that miniseries where they expand and really expand the universe. You just have to be able to tolerate the low budget.
If you send me the link, I'll actually pin it in the description after we put this up so everyone will be able to find it. Last thing we'll cover is the pacing of the movie. Again, from 1 to 5 egos. Stuntman, how was the pacing of this movie for you?
Honestly, I give it like a 3.5 because it was moving so fast I couldn't keep up with the storyline. It was literally like one storyline after the other, and new character after new character after newer character, and it was a lot. It was too much. I mean, it's a fun movie. Like, you know, if you're just there to watch a fun movie and like be entertained, yeah, great. And it's good. And you get what you're paying for. But if you're really into the story and you want to figure out, hey, you know, and you want to be involved, very hard to keep up with, kind of too fast. And, you know, it's like one of those movies you have to watch again because the story moves so fast, and it is confusing if you kind of don't know the backstory, which I did not. It was confused, and this is why I got so many questions. But yeah, I'll give 3.5.
I will say this, guys. This is significant for Stuntman because my man has seen just about every Marvel movie that they've put out since Iron Man. So for him to say it's a 3.5 is really saying something. Okay. But anyway, Stuntman or Ice, what do you have, sir, for the pacing of this movie?
I'm gonna have to agree with Stuntman. I think he said it all. So I think the rating was good. I'm down with 3.5. I'm in.
Okay. I'm gonna join you on the 3.5 too. Did it feel like a 3-hour movie? No. However, if you're watching this movie, you can't just do this like an FX movie where you turn on a Saturday and you're in and out because you'll miss a whole lot. So you have to sit there and actually be focused the entire time, which is good. It's just that it's hard to keep your focus on what's happening when you have so many questions with what you're seeing, and then they jump to the next character that they're introducing, and you're just like, okay, what planet is this? Who is this? Why are we here? And then you're trying to watch it. But the thing is, I know that me and Stuntman like to talk during the movies. Okay, when I say me and him couldn't talk to each other because we're trying to figure out what's happening, what's something saying something, because we had to be focused the entire time. So with that, I'll actually give it a 3.5. So I guess the question for me is, I'm pretty sure, I don't know what Dune 3 is going to be. I don't know if it's Dune 3 Messiah or not, but are you guys interested enough to see how the Dune Part 3 turns out? I'll start with you, Stuntman. Go ahead, man.
Oh, I'm 100% in. I'm involved, man. Like I'm like I know they're coming out with like a mini series on I think on Apple or something. I think I'm willing to watch. Yeah, I think they're coming out with like a show on some app, and I'm down to watch it, man. I'm invested. Yeah.
Okay, Justin, nice. I can see by your face what you got, man.
I mean, I've arrived at my destination. So I'm gonna sign off after this. But I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Right. I'm gonna leave with this. If I have any more involvement in this particular version of Frank Herbert's Dune, it'll be purely based on the peer pressure and motivation of Stuntman's words.
Yeah.
If this is the only way for me to be on a stream to talk about things with you and Stuntman, then I guess I'll watch some of it. I guess. Oh, good. Oh, I didn't even want to see this one. I saw some spoilers and I was like, oh, it was already spoiled. Thank you for telling me about the
remote. That's so funny.
Good. All right, guys. We'll have to bring you guys on for another one that isn't Dune 3 to keep Justin Ice from having a stroke. But guys, for Justin Ice, for the Stuntman, I'm E.G.O, and we're out.